Peter Welch from the great state of Vermont is here, and so we're going to turn it over to you for your questions.
Well, thank you. And by the way, I really appreciate you and Senator Budd holding this hearing. We all like to brag about how we're the best, but in my case, it's really true. Vermont's the greatest. Well, you're a tough act to follow on that, I must say. But it's really delightful. We're so proud in Vermont, you know, of the natural beauty that we have, and it's an incredibly important part of our economy as well. And one of the things, and I bet, Senator Rosen, this is true for you, we have these folks in Vermont who play a big part in agritourism, bed and breakfast. They have such a strong sense of place and such a love for where they live. All of their efforts are about enhancing it. And it really benefits those of us who live in the state, because those folks who are involved in tourism really make our states more beautiful. And that's why I think it's so important to focus on the policies at the federal level that we can do that help all of us back home in Nevada, North Carolina, and in Vermont. So I'll ask Ms. Reagan, Vermont we get millions of visitors, and how can the federal government better support small towns? We have a lot of very small towns with really energetic people, limited resources, and they can use some technical know-how, and they're committed to doing the work. But how can, and I think that's true all around the country with some of these beautiful places, because people go there in part because it is small and it is rural. So how can the federal government better support the small towns that want to welcome outdoor rec visitors sustainably?
Senator, thank you for the question. Julie Reagan, Tahoe Regional Planning Agency. Well, we share the small town challenge with Vermont and many other places in the country. In Tahoe, we like to say we're a small rural community on the weekdays and a big city on the weekends, because people flock to our basin in the weekend time frame, and we're a very big drive-up market. So truly, I think the recognition of this committee and those in our agencies and the administration to recognize that it is not a one-size-fits-all. Oftentimes, federal policy suits an urban framework, and small towns are different, and our needs are different, and particularly in the area of transportation. We don't compete in the Tahoe Basin as well for the big infrastructure grants, and infrastructure has really evolved into a major challenge for Lake Tahoe. We have a small year-round population, as Senator Rosen noted, but millions and millions of visitors that we serve. And so I think looking at a new model for the future that builds the opportunity for more infrastructure investments, particularly in transportation and technology. We often don't have good internet service in high mountain elevations, and you need proper infrastructure and investment in technology to service cell phone information and app-based travel demand. So those are a couple examples.
That's
Senator.
good. Thank you. I don't have that much time, so I appreciate that answer. And Ms. Allison, I just want to ask you about stewardship. You know, agritourism, any time we get out and hike, what I find is that people become very invested in the natural world and doing everything they can to preserve it. And I think it can be something that will help us address some of the issues of climate change, where folks really see that what is happening with weather is really affecting the natural world. Can you tell us what your organization's experience with is with environmental stewardship and growing that?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. I think the stewardship piece is really important, and oftentimes it's just education, a little bit more education that's needed. I think as folks are visiting communities, they often don't have all the information about the culture there and how to take care of the place. And so I mentioned earlier, Visit NC has a program called Outdoor NC, which is a statewide stewardship program. So it's really just an education messaging initiative where folks are going to see kind of these leave no trace principles no matter where they go. And not only are they working with communities, but they're working with business leaders. So whether you go into one of our great restaurants or breweries, you know, the hope is that you'll see the messaging there the same as if you're in a retail retailer, and then also they're going to start a program where they're working with all of our guides and outfitters to, again, just have that same repeat messaging so that our visitors and residents are hearing it over and over, so we're taking care of our places.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My time is up. I yield back.